right. We're still waiting on Brandon, but we will go ahead and start with introductions and everything and have him come in and join us. I would like to thank everyone for coming today. I'm sure all of you who are watching today aren't like, what? Something changed with Google. I need to go to that webinar because I've never heard of that. You're all here because you've been impacted in some way, or the people that you love have been impacted in some way. So just to kick things off, I am Tricia Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Performance Marketing Association. I'm also a victim of the Google crimes. So I'm here to represent the publisher side of it, as well as the general PMA. And I want to say, first of all, that I want to thank Spark Partnerships, which is Christen Evans, for sponsoring us today. It is because of sponsors like Christen that we're able to put on all of these great free educational webinars coming out of PMA. So we'll have you all do introductions and start with Christen.
Thank you, Tricia, for the very nice intro. And we're super happy to sponsor, especially because Spark Partnerships works heavily with content creators to help them optimize their affiliate relationships. So this has definitely been a little bit of a blow. And I'm really excited for this conversation to help support both publishers and brands on being able to bounce back from this, because we've definitely seen significant impact on both sides. And it's not the first time that we've had major hiccups like this. It's just new and different. And so the best way forward is through education, and we're going to hopefully help everybody with that today.
Ty.
Thanks so much for having me, Tricia. Thanks for the intro and sponsorship, Christen. Ty DeGrange, CEO of Round Barn Labs. I'm thrilled to be here. We are a boutique affiliate and influencer agency. We love helping brands to kind of unlock and make sense of the channel, which a lot of you are here to listen to and learn more about. We're seeing some really interesting data around the consumer tech and B2B SaaS world, which is high growing, and definitely have some opinions and thoughts on this matter as we've seen it. We've shared some of the data that we've gathered across our portfolio, and excited to dive in with you all here today to learn and make sense and come up with some suggestions on what people can do, what publishers can do, what content sites can do to make this better. We come from a managing of advertisers perspective, but obviously a lot of publisher negotiations, publisher conversations, as we say, they're the currency of the affiliate space. So it's important to make sense of it, and excited to dive in with you guys.
And Adam.
Hi. That's me. No.
If you don't introduce yourself, I will.
That is his introduction.
Right, so
Needs
my
no
name is
introduction.
Adam Riemer. I've known Tricia for probably 20 to 22 years at this point, and Christen probably 15. Ty, I'm very sorry that you're now stuck with me.
It's official.
I've been doing marketing strategy and execution for a lot longer than that, and I'm most probably known for the affiliate management and programs, as well as search engine optimization. I've keynoted everywhere and given lectures and workshops from Australia to Croatia, Barbados last November, and now Lithuania in the next spring. I just got booked there. And we do everything from publisher optimization to e-commerce optimization. And we work with probably 6,000 or 7,000 content sites, helping them optimize and monetize without getting penalized. So it's not always doable, and you're up to their own personal preferences and their comfort zones. But we're seeing a lot of rebounds from the people that got penalized. And actually, what's interesting is not a lot of the sites in our programs did get penalized.
Interesting. Well, we're going to get into a whole lot of stuff, but I would like to also invite those of you who are watching us on LinkedIn, if you could drop a line introducing yourself, kind of letting us know, the people that are watching us and interacting with us today, which side you're coming from. Are you a publisher who's looking for SEO tips? Are you an agency who's working with publishers? Something completely different. That way, as we're going through our questions, we'll kind of have a little bit of an idea how to target our answers. And then also, if you have questions for any of our panelists throughout this, you can drop them into that LinkedIn chat. If it's possible for me to get them worked in through all of this, then I will. So first, I want to give a little fun fact about Adam. Adam got my children onto a Benderoo's national commercial when they were in elementary school. As I was an affiliate in one of his programs, my kids made a YouTube video. Adam showed it to them, and my kids were on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon when they were in elementary school. So they were forever known in their school district as the Benderoo's girls. They came to our house and filmed us and put us on national television, all thanks to Adam. So, like, as we're talking, and this actually does relate to what we're talking about today, in ways that agencies are helping publishers as well. That kind of exposure, those kind of things are things that not only like that helped me to give me some awesome content that I was able to use, but then helped form this relationship between me and Adam that now all these years, my kids are out of college, all these years later, that I'm able to kind of go back to and say, hey, Adam, need some help with a webinar. So thank you. I see all the things rolling in now, all the introductions. So we'll start jumping into content. And as Adam, you mentioned you've been dealing with this a lot. So let's just start with kind of a little bit of the basics in terms of what has changed. The algorithms had Google's had kind of two big changes, one like late last fall and then another one in March. Obviously, they're always tinkering, but we kind of have these two big things. What has changed in this last year so much?
So the unpopular opinion that I'm going to give is Google's relied on better quality or more authoritative sites. So when you're seeing these big brands overtake the smaller publishers, even though the smaller publishers are talking from experience, they don't necessarily have the same authority as the big websites. And the publishers that fell, they fell for one of two reasons that I'm seeing. The first one is they don't actually share the real details about the products. They're sharing things that can be written by reading a manufacturer's site or simply just having the product for 5 or 10 minutes and then writing about it. It's not about the actual experience, and they forget to talk to the user. They talk about their experience. They forget, here's how you can use this. Here's what it's compatible with. Here's what it won't work with. If it's a travel site, here's where the best place to take a photo is. And if you have a wheelchair, or if you are not able to walk stairs because maybe you're elderly or you're like me and just lazy, then you want to take this route. And also the best positions for the sunlight and the time of day. These are the things that really set your content apart and build you as an authority. And I'm seeing a lot of travel sites that don't publicly complain that climbed and actually retook these positions. This is the last September helpful content update. The other issue that happened around that time is Google started to feature their own properties. If you look at the Google Flights folder, you're going to see it overtook a lot of travel websites. And I actually think that that was incredibly unfair. There was a recent video that leaked, I believe it was from Marissa Meyer, and I apologize if I get this wrong. And she had said in one of their meetings, we worked hard at building this product. Why shouldn't we surface it up to the top? It was something similar to like that. You can go out and you can find that video. But it's like Google, my personal opinion is they have a right to feature their own products, but they also shouldn't be taking other people's content and monetizing it and using that to build their products. They need to compensate the publishers or give the publishers traffic. But they're not doing that. And that's what is wrong. And that is why Google, I normally side with them. I don't side with them in this. It's not fair to steal people's data and information and then tell them it's not good quality. Yes, they can improve it. Go up later on, you're going to all of a sudden see, wait, just like we had with Squidoo lenses and stuff years ago, where you would abuse those and rank those, now it's called parasite SEO. You go into LinkedIn Pulse, you go into these other platforms, and you start writing really garbage content, stuffing it with affiliate links, no disclosures anywhere on most of this stuff that I'm seeing, and commenting as a brand on Quora and Reddit and other places. And what Google has launched, not in the two algorithms that you mentioned, was forums. And it's a section up in Google, and they take a predominant place in the Google search results. And what's happening now is these are replacing the publishers, and that is very unfair as well. This is not quality content. Yes, it is community-driven content, but now it's also spam content. It's AI-driven content at mass to respond back, and it's overtaking valid, legit information. And in some cases is providing harmful information. I've tweeted out examples where I asked it about that wonderful formula or something from King of the Hill for Peggy's Ultimate Cleaner. It gave me instructions on how to build, what was that? A mustard gas. And then it told me where to buy mustard gas supplies so I can go make my mustard gas and release it. And I tweeted that out and shared it. So it's like you can go find that. And this is the problem with what Google did. They're allowing anyone, including people without actual knowledge and experience, to give information that could hurt and harm people. And that's why I'm helping people, especially for free at this point, to recover their rankings, because the affiliates get a bad rap as being spammers. But the reality is, a lot of them produce quality, good information from experience that can help a consumer. And that's what Perspectives was supposed to be, but it disappeared for forums. And that's unfortunate. Google in May was supposed to have launched the Parasite SEO update. They did manual actions. Nobody has seen any of the sites expected to fall have the algorithmic part hit. And that's also unfair. Publishers and affiliates get hit without warning. These big brands and these big websites have had nothing happen to them, even though they were given months to prepare. And then the algorithmic part never hit them. So everyone feels like they've been abandoned. But the reality is, you just have to be a little bit smarter and put the effort in. If you're going to talk about a product, give alternatives to it, give multiple places to shop, and just give the best experience. And when you focus it on how do I get people from social media to come to you? How do I get people to really enjoy this enough to subscribe to my SMS list? If they're under millennial age and over millennial age, to your email list? And how do you build a destination that people want to come back to? That's how you build a brand. That's how you build brand search. And that's how you start to recover your rankings in the search engines. And you don't really have to worry about these algorithms again. Does that answer? Sorry, it was long.
No, yeah, comments from the others, or how as both of you being on the agency sides, what you're hearing from the publishers and what you're seeing from the publishers that you work with in terms of their rankings and their traffic.
Yeah,
Hi, go ahead, because I'll talk
I
for
can
a
jump
million
in.
years.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Christen. It's funny. We've seen there's a lot of change happening. I think if you step back and think about what's happening, I love Adam's perspective. This to me feels like beginnings of some pretty sizable change, and at the very least some sizable challenge to kind of the normal ways at which search operates. One thing that we've gathered from the changes of the last few years and going back much further is around, every channel has this kind of like S curve, right? You get that inception, you get that inflection, you get that golden age where it's working perfectly. A lot of publishers, a lot of content sites, heck, even in the B2B SaaS world, they're relying on kind of tried and true SEO tactics. And I think that there's bright spots when you get to work with someone like an Adam. There's opportunities to improve and optimize, but I think there is some challenges that are pretty significant at play here. And I see, the snippets rollout was one thing, right? You've had the number of people going to those has gone up drastically in the last few years. The no-click queries have been reported going up drastically. So this is something that has been coming for a while, and it seems to have been obviously accelerated by AI and AI overviews, accelerated by the changes from the Google Core updates over the last 6 months. And I think, Adams and other SEO experts are in a really good position to kind of help people navigate it all. But I think we're kind of coming to some existential concerns and questions. The snippet core value and user experience is really, it's like ChatGPT and others are really an extension of that. Look at how much our usage has changed just in this panel alone. Look at the usage changes happening recently with people moving to Claude, moving to Perplexity. So it's not to say that you cannot run a business off of SEO, but I think it really underscores the need for a lot of rethinking of how you're building a brand. I think what Adam finished with was really hit me hard, because we're placing a big bet on creator and this rise of the creator that Kieran Flanagan talks about, Brian Balfour talks about, heck, even Chamath Palihapitiya talks about, some pretty like big thinkers in growth and in even in marketing and just the worldview and things. So I think that this change is coming where people are really not as trusting and not as much wanting those big brands. It's almost contradictory, because Adam, you're saying that like, hey, Google's rewarding these big brands, but at the same time we're saying, hey, these voices, these authentic voices are what's going to be most valued. And so I think you have to really start investing in ways to become that authentic personality, that authentic brand, that authentic voice. Not everyone's going to be Mr. Beast overnight, but I think that's sort of what Adam is getting at in his suggestion. And I think it's something that's really hitting hard for our portfolio and our team, looking at how do we help diversify. And so the publishers have taken a bit of a hit. I mean, we're pretty diverse across our a brand and our portfolio. So I don't think we're seeing like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But the 10% decline that I've heard a lot of people give or take reference in the AIO rollout. Kevin Indig, who Adam, you probably know, we came with a similar number that he did, which I thought was wild. It was around 8.9%, I believe, in terms of a decline for a lot of these content sites. So it's not like an existential threat for, I think, our portfolio or for our clients or for content sites, but I think it's something that people can start to build defenses against, to really have some diversification, have some means of saying like, here's our differentiator. And I love what Adam said about, kind of being willing to like, almost like in a debate, like be able to argue that counterpoint. I think it's important to be able to say, hey, here's some other resources to consider to kind of elevate that objectivity and credibility for Google and for the user.
Christen?
What I've seen, so I was a content creator when Pinterest first decided to remove affiliate links. And I was a wedding content creator. And that to me was kind of like, that was very similar to how this is for a lot of publishers, and I'm looking at bloggers, I'm looking at some of those like legacy content creators that were, influencers, but actually bloggers that are still bloggers that have built up a lot of their publications. This is hitting them as hard as that Pinterest rollout did a million years ago, and the reaction is very similar. I'm seeing a lot of conversations around absolutely diversification, and not just like in where they're promoting brands, whether it's linking to the brand's direct site or, a department store or another retail entity, or to Amazon or a marketplace or whatever. Not only are they doing that, but they're also diversifying their overall properties and communities in so many ways. People who have consistently written content over the years are transferring over to podcasts, because everybody has a podcast right now. And obviously like vertical video TikTok shop is like absolutely taking off in some areas as a way to combat this for some creators. And it's really interesting kind of on my side, I have seen some partners that have had that standard, 10% decline. But I also work with some publishers who've been in the business for, 16 years, who have clear, authentic voices, who have a diversified portfolio. And they've seen, a 70% hit in their traffic starting last September, and they're continually getting hit. And that to me, especially when these partners have spent so many years building those authentic relationships, building those communities, this is incredibly unfair to them, And then on the reverse, we have AI come in, skimming their sites and taking the information that they've used to further, rank Google, rank those other pages. Like, I'm sorry, that's BS. Like, that's just absolute BS, but it's going to happen. We know that all's unfair in the game of affiliate. So how can we best strategize on this? How can we best help our partners and support them? And I think that, and I say this all the time, so forgive the broken recordness of it, but educating them and empowering them to make the best decisions to move forward, educating them on, okay, well, this sucks, but here are the things that you can do here. Don't necessarily completely change the course, stay the course, but also broaden the course, alternate the course a little bit, but don't stray from your authenticity, and don't stray from your main goal and who you are. Just build on it. And I hope that we're able to deliver some really good tips and tricks for people for that today.
Just to call out, follow on, if you don't mind, Tricia, what Christen and Adam both said around like Google and other platforms, like leveraging the small medium blog or community to then build something that competes and takes away, I think is it's obviously a negative, and it's such an interesting, and it almost reminds me of the Amazon analogy of like, okay, you're rising the rankings with your product, and then we're going to roll out something that's a direct competitor to it. I'm not an antitrust or legal expert like Tricia, but I feel like that should be the biggest thing that one of the bigger things that these tech companies are under scrutiny for, if you're building a business off someone else's creation and you're not compensating them appropriately for it, that's a big problem.
Yeah, because you're taking away their income and, basically gaining off of that. And that's unfair.
One thing that
Yep.
Christen said is that I just want to build on is that Google only needs one top result, and they only need 10 results now that they've gotten rid of Forever Scroll and it's back to a paginated series. And so if your affiliate manager is giving you generic advice, then they probably don't know what they're doing. And that's likely one of the reasons why you fell, why you got hurt. And sorry if you can hear that in the background. They're apparently testing our
There is
fire
an
alarm.
actual fire, right? You're okay.
There was, and now they're repairing the system. So
Okay.
it is what it is.
All right, we'll keep you
But
here then.
basically, if your affiliate manager is sending, hey, create a listicle with 10 products, that's really bad advice. You're not going to rank for that. And if you already did, why did you get devalued on that? And how can you get that back? They don't care about you. Instead, have them research what is the topic of your website? What does your website have authority in? What can your website potentially actually rank for where other affiliates and other people are not currently ranking? That's where you can start to grow and gain your money back. And if your affiliate manager sends a newsletter and it's just like, hey, here's a deal or promote a deal, they don't know what they're doing. They're probably just someone entry level out of school saying, hey, here's a deal. Or if they email you a link that says, hey, here's Forbes top 5 fire alarms. and they're like, see, this is how you build a list. They're not helping you build something because they didn't ask you who's your audience. What does your audience need? Are they in a condo? Are they in a house? Are they at Disney World? So the fire alarms are going to be different. They're just giving you generic things. Other times I've seen affiliate managers say, hey, build a coupon site or start sharing coupons in there, which is one of the worst things you can do if you're a content site, because now you've changed the topic of your website. It's not the reason people go to you. They go to you for information, for resources, to plan a party, to plan a wedding like Christen, to learn how to paint a bike blue. These are the things that you should be sharing. And when you change and you go from biking to roller skating, even though they're both athletics, you've changed the topic and you're going to lose your rankings.
So Adam, can I ask you a question? I'm sorry if I'm getting off topic here, but I legitimately have a question on this. So we saw, Forbes took away their coupon site. Like that was one of the big pieces to this, right? If we're looking at smaller content creators than Forbes, a lot of them have exclusive deals that they get from their affiliate managers, in addition to that top level content they're creating. And these partners are getting penalized because of those deals. And yet that's been a top converter for them for so long because of like that exclusivity, especially, when we're looking at attribution and conversion lines. That's one of the ways that these content creators have been able to really kind of stay afloat against a lot of these large publishers, is because their sites become full funnel, right? Like they're able to keep people on from discovery through education and then through checkout. But now they're getting penalized from that. How are they able to take action to be able to still keep that full funnel kind of experience on their site without losing any of that momentum that they've been building over the years? Because at one point that was the smartest thing to do. And now they're like, oh, never mind.
I've actually said it's one of the dumbest things people can do from day one. And so some of our close friends that we both know who have now seen their sites, some are 15 years old, tank. When they started building their coupon sections, I said, you're going to get tanked. And now they've all tanked. And it sucks. I have a call with one of them next week to see what we can do. You don't have to get rid of the coupons, but what you do want to do is de-index them. And then you want to block them from being crawled in robots.txt. And a de-indexing is different than robots.txt. It's a meta robots you apply on your website. And the meta robots for this one should be no index follow. There's 4 directives. The directives tell a spider what to do with the page. It could be index the page or don't index the page. Follow the links from this page or don't follow the links from this page. That page is part of your website and you probably link into your content. So you want to say follow it. But because it's a coupon and it's because it's supposed to be showing up for coupons, I'm just going to go back to Christen here, but your site's about weddings. You're not a coupon site. You're a wedding resource and a wedding directory. So what you want to do is you want to no index this page that's topically irrelevant. Suppose you're a food blogger and you loved your trip to Disney World. Sorry, Tricia, I keep saying that in the background. And so you just really enjoyed that trip and you want to share it. You want to share the things you ate, but it's not a recipe and it's not about food. It's about your family and your vacation with a little bit of food. You can still publish that. It's totally fine, but no index follow it. If it's a sponsored page and a sponsored post and you don't have internal links, then you would no index, no follow. And it changes. But for the most part, for that type of situation where it's something you do feel is beneficial for your user, but it's not as relevant for your site, you can disallow in robots.txt, say, hey, don't pay attention and don't focus on these pages. And on specific pages that don't make sense topically, index follow them. And that way it pulls it out of the indexes and the search engines can now focus on your core pages. And for the larger publications, even if people at one point in time did open up a newspaper to find coupons, that's not why they're on these media sites. And that's not part of the media site experience. They're on that media site to find out about current news, to find out about how to style. If it's Cosmopolitan, they were famous for their S quizzes. And if it's like USA Today, it's general USA news. That's what they should stick to. And yes, the print publications were always known for coupons, but that's not topically relevant to why people go there. That's not the intent. And I published an article on Search Engine Land maybe a year ago saying, hey, here's a bunch of media sites that tanked, and here's why I think they tanked. Here's the commonalities. Turns out a couple weeks later, Google actually published an article that reinforced everything that I had noticed and claimed on it. And then I saw others. These are all major brands, household names I guarantee everyone listening knows. And if you notice, if you put them into SEMrush or Ahrefs or Moz, you're going to see that they all fell substantially. And that's why they're non-existent. And that's why they've lost stuff in your programs. You got to stick to your topic if you want to keep your traffic. But more important, you've got to build something for your audience. So they want to keep coming back to you and searching for you by brand name. That's how you send the signal you're a trust and authority. It isn't always links. It isn't always unique experiences in EEAT. It's, are people looking for you? Are they demanding you? Are they requesting you? What are they looking for when they request you? And that's how you get that trust and you beat the big brands.
For the dummies like me, what's EEAT?
So you're not a dummy, but it's an SEO concept that some people confuse as a ranking signal. And it stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trust. So expertise means you are the go-to expert on this. Experience, have you actually held that product or have you used that service? Like I've had LASIK surgery. I could talk about what the experience was like, what it's like 5 years, 10 years after I've had it, and what I felt like because I went through it. Authority means you might be a doctor or a licensed medical professional or a legal professional like Tricia. So you are an authority on it. Trust means, why should somebody trust you? What is the trust builders that go in here that say this is a legit piece of content, a legit video, a legit podcast or recording that deserves the trust of the end user? And those 4 types of aspects are things that Google may or may not consider when selecting one page over another. It more or less applies to like Discover and News, but it could apply to the algorithm. It is not a ranking factor, but it is something to consider regardless of where you're creating content. Because if it doesn't have EAT, people aren't going to want to share it on social media, and they're not going to want to share something that has like a million ads mixed throughout it because it's a really bad experience for the end users. Why do they want to send their friends there when they can send them to someone that has less ads or gives a more direct answer? And that's part of EAT.
So hopefully all of you that are publishers out there are paying attention that if you are having any SEO issues or do your own SEO, if you're not already following Adam on social media, you've just learned your biggest tip for the day. Okay, so as we're still kind of rounding out the SEO in general topic, what are a few like specific things that publishers could be doing to try to help with their Google results? So we've obviously had like non-Google results and non-search traffic we'll talk about too, but specifically if you had like a couple of tips, if something has happened with your Google search results, what could they do? Like one thing today that everybody should be doing.
Does anyone else want to jump in first? Because I'll talk for hours.
That's all right.
one
We're
after
on the
you.
Adam
I
part
know
of the
you're kind of the
webinar, so
authority
it's all
on
right.
this one, Adam, so go for
You're on a
it.
roll, Adam.
So the very first thing I do is I'll jump into Search Console and I'll go in and you click onto the full report. It'll be in the top middle of the screen. And then what you do is you click onto pages. Then you select the date range and you compare to whenever you notice the drop starting. So it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. And then you can actually add in the clicks and the average positions. What you get there is and then you can sort by how many, what increased and what decreased. And this is the page specifically. The next thing to do is to open each of those URLs inside Search Console. Don't leave it. And then it opens up a new report with that same comparison data. If you click on queries, you actually see the keyword phrases that fell. This is your gold mine right there, because if it turns out it was Audrey Hepburn posters, what can happen is you're like, okay, this is what fell. So what happened? Let's go look at the current top 10 results. Maybe it's that you still actually have the ranking, but there's a million images on top of it. So let's focus on how do I get my image results to show up? If it's a Google Merchant Center feed and you know that you were selling a ton of Audrey Hepburn posters because you get the SKUs reported through Postspec or through your merchant reports. Like, okay, I know that my profitability, my ROAS is about a 2-to-1. It costs 50 cents to bid here, which brings me to a 1.5. Yeah, I got to spend a little bit of money for the traffic I used to have, but I know my profitability is probably going to be there. Maybe I test out some ads. And then I also see I didn't have an opt-in here. So maybe I try to get the person to subscribe, or maybe I cross-sell or upsell another product. Now I can increase my profitability here. Or if I get them to subscribe, I can offer them that exclusive coupon code and deal that Christen talked about earlier. So that gives them a reason to join my list because they're going to save. Now, if they save some money, the AOV of the order goes down, which means my commission goes down if it's not on a flat fee. But you have that user. So figure out, what do they buy after? So talk to your affiliate manager then and say, hey, you notice people are purchasing this from me. When they come back, what are the next 3 or 4 commonality in products they purchase? So then you email that maybe a week or 2 or a month later, because this is the stuff your affiliate manager has. Your affiliate manager can't get that data for you. They're an ineffective affiliate manager, or their company is not giving them the tools that they need. And that's the most likely case, and why I ended with that. And so what you can do is you can then say, hey, I have this list of 2,000 people that have all subscribed to get a deal on an Audrey Hepburn poster. If you tell me these next 3 products and the times they normally purchase, I'm going to send an email blast featuring your store and send all these people right back to you for their second purchase. Now that 1.5 is up to a 3.0 or something, and you've really started to drive a revenue. And again, you've built that business model up. People may start searching for you by name because you're providing something of value, and you've stayed on topic because this isn't new content that's topically irrelevant. If it's an Audrey Hepburn site and maybe it's an Audrey Hepburn cookie jar, then like that could be topically relevant. Maybe you do need a product review, and then you get to eat cookies and have an Audrey Hepburn cookie jar. So it's like it's a win-win all the way around. But these are the things that you should be thinking about. Don't worry about SEO. Worry about the user experience. Worry about how do you build a business. You are a publisher, but you're also a business person. You're not just some spammer sitting out there in their basement, like drinking Mountain Dew and, like you are a business person when you're an affiliate, and approach it like that. How do I grow my business? How do I get my kids to college? How do I get that vacation to Tahiti that I want? These are the things that if you think about it that way, you stop worrying about the search engine, start saying, how do I get to my next hire, my next 3 hires? How do I grow and scale? And that's what we teach our affiliates how to do when they're getting more serious about turning this full time, and when they don't want to be reliant on Facebook or Pinterest or Google. It's just turning it into a business. SEO follows as a byproduct. Does that
I
answer?
love that, Adam. That's a just mic drop comment, and
I'm
such
just
a
stopping with
there's
that
so
right
much
there.
in there. Yeah, you can
Adam's
walk
out.
away
He
now.
loves me.
I just want to follow on that because there's some really good stuff in there. I think the notion of a publisher, a content site, a community, kind of looking at the competitive landscape, seeing what users have available out there, and kind of going where that opportunity is in the quadrant or in the business model that they're in, the niche they're in, what users are getting or not getting. I think that speaks to that kind of business strategy 101 that Adam's referring to, that gets people out of the mindset of, fixation on the Google changes. Obviously, you have to address those technically and tech, contextually, et cetera. But there's a business opportunity there. The other point I really loved about what you said was there's this collaboration opportunity with the brand. This is a bit going back into the archives of my experience, but I think Bring a Trailer is just the most amazing poster child of this back in the eBay Partner Network days. They were just amazing. They would sit down with us directly and we'd map out like a long-term creative plans of how to paint this picture of how parts are really available on eBay Motors, and they're a great way to source. And they took an old Corvette and they stripped it down and had the community comment and rebuild it together. And it was a multi-year, multiple post, obviously a financial time creativity investment. I think one thing that we don't always get to, but I love it when brands and the publishers and the communities can really take the ownership and say, hey, I'm going to go to a brand and say, I have an opportunity for you. Adam referenced this, be creative about how you're bundling and packaging. I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think that was one of my favorite examples. People probably eye roll because I bring it up so much, but I don't see enough of that. And I think it's hard because it takes trust and time and effort. But a community and a content site and a publisher can really do that with a brand if they show a little bit of that willingness to invest, show a little bit of that willingness to come up with a creative plan. I think more brands would be willing and able to sign off, especially as they want more of these voices to kind of speak for them. And I think it kind of gets out of that reliance on one particular channel.
I also think this comes back a lot to kind of the basics, like keep it simple, stupid. It's back when I was a content creator, a lot of it was like, what solution am I providing for my audience? How am I educating them and empowering them to make the best decision? And I think, over the years, some of the content focus has come down to, okay, how much money can I make off of this? How many different brands can I work with? And I do think that this kind of presents an opportunity for a lot of content creators to kind of dial back and really get back to the focus of, why do people care and how can I help them? And I think that ultimately is such a fun opportunity, because the way we can build stronger, branded content relationships between brands and affiliates and really, really be able to actually help our affiliates, not just be like, here's a deal, here's a promotion, join our program, but really be like, how can we help you build this incredible story that's not only going to help your audience, but is ultimately going to help all of us? And how can we do that over a long period of time? So that, I love the purchase journey, Adam. That's like one of my very, very, very favorite things. You and I both worked for a brand where like that was one of my favorite things to figure out is like, okay, if you purchase this, then what are they likely to purchase next? And being able to like segment your partners into those conversations so that you're supporting them as much as possible and giving them the best information is going to be a success for everybody all around. Whereas if you're just kind of throwing them topical information as an affiliate manager, then you're not really helping. You're just kind of informing. And that's not going to move the needle.
So a tip for the affiliate managers and agencies out here, and it's one of the things that I used with that brand that we had shared, is with recruitment, use your SEO and your PPC data. So you may have a competitor that's all over those listicles because they're the big brand, but money talks. And so what you can do is you can create a ROAS forecast with your pitch and say, look, we know that you're getting about 1,000 visitors a month. We have a 5% conversion rate and a 10% commission. From what we've heard from other partners that are used to have that ranking, they converted at maybe 2% and have a 5% commission. By switching out to us, if the commission and conversion rate holds true, with this AOV, here's your potential gain over that merchant. And that's how you can compete, whether it's the mattress space, whether it's the CBD space. It's all about the money there. So when you can give a story and you come at them with numbers and proof, and that comes directly from your SEO team, they know exactly how many visitors are coming through in the organic, and your PPC team has the conversion rates off these specific keywords, unless they're just running PMAX. then you can actually take that, combine that with your AOV, and the commission, the top you can offer and what's publicly available. And then you can make a pitch to here's what you could be making if you change out to us. So we've talked to the publishers the whole time. I just wanted to throw something out for the managers. I'm going to grab a Diet Dr. Pepper because my throat's drying up.
And actually going down that path, because as Adam had mentioned, his top tip about going in and figuring out your pages and what has happened to them. For me as the publisher, that is what happened. It wasn't a drop in rankings. It wasn't that my site was all of a sudden being outranked by Wirecutter or anything else, even though they were reviewing the same things we were still ranking in the exact same number 2, not number 1. We're still working on number 1, but ranking number 2 for the same terms consistently that we've been ranking for 10 years. And yet our traffic was dropping. And so at the same time, everybody else was saying, oh, my traffic's dropping, my rankings. And I was like, oh no, did our rankings drop? And I went in and none of our rankings dropped. So then doing like what Adam said and figuring out, okay, wait, our ranking is in the exact same place that it was, but now I'm looking at it, oh wait, there's 4 ads and now there's all these Google recommendations, and then there's the snippets, and then there's Reddit and Quora, and then there's number 1 and number 2. I'm number 2, but I'm so far down the page that I'm not going to get traffic on this anymore. So as an agency, as people are helping with the publishers, you mentioned before, Christen, like diversifying your site, diversifying your audience. What kinds of things can you be helping publishers do so you don't live and die by Google anymore? What other things should they be doing? How should they be repurposing content or building their traffic in other ways?
Yeah, great question. Lists, of course. Your email list is one of your biggest resources. You own it, I think that we've all said that until we were blue in the face, whether people listen or not. But your email list is definitely one of those huge opportunities. You can really kind of consider that your community. You're reaching people directly in their inbox. You're reaching high intent customers because they've already opted in. As long as you continue to provide, helpful, relevant information with the backing of some brand partnerships, that's kind of your sweet spot. But in addition to that, as I mentioned, podcasts, everybody has a podcast these days, but people are listening to them. I mean, I've never been like a video podcast girl, and I listen to podcasts now. And that's, same thing. Like I'm on TikTok literally all of the time. And I kind of liken myself as like the ideal consumer because I use Honey. I shop on TikTok Shop. I'm on Amazon. I go to brands. I read the, newsletters. I am a full funnel consumer. I'm a millennial. So I'm literally everywhere. And those are the kinds of things that I pay attention to when I'm shopping is like, where am I? Because, I'm a pretty standard shopper. So, I think that in addition to podcasts, we're seeing snippets of podcasts being uploaded to YouTube. That's huge, and then the podcasts themselves are, snippets of podcasts being uploaded to TikTok. The full podcasts are living on YouTube as well as, Apple Podcast or wherever your podcast is sold. And so even just having that same base content, which can start as written content on the site, right? Having that same content then supported by video, whether that's podcast or, a YouTube video or whatever, and then having that broken down and shared on socials, and then supported by, snippets of the content, wherever, and the links and, mentions of the brands, that's going to help diversify all of your traffic sources and all of the knowledge that's coming through your community. So socials is huge. Vertical video is overtaking like the whole wide world right now. And your email list, anything that, and then, of course, whatever you can do, whether it's building a community that's, I don't want to say in Reddit because, affiliate's not great in Reddit, but if you can build your own community, if you have, that kind of opportunity, any of those that is also supported by your content, or your content basically is the home base and then spoken wheels out for it, you're going to have a much better opportunity at converting and retaining your audience.
Can I throw one thing on top of it? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Adam.
It's to build off Tricia and Christen. So another thing, when you notice that you still have your ranking, but the traffic dried up, it could be like most how-tos, whether it's styling hair or fixing a sub pump, now have a video result at the top or multiple video results. So if you have your content and it does have a video in there, Google changed their policy on what video content is. And if it's in the middle of your page, you now need to move it up to the top. And you also want to check your schema to make sure it's a video object schema. how-to schema has been deprecated, I believe last September, so that won't help you with it, but the video object in the article probably will. And if you haven't created the video yet, go create it. This is your area of expertise and you have the guide that's trusted. Now what you can do is you can also get YouTube traffic on top of it. And for Tricia's benefit, when you do your YouTube video, if it's new, make sure to have a verbal disclosure in the beginning that says you earn commissions and put a written disclosure in the description before the first affiliate link exists.
Thank you, my evangelist.
Amazing.
Don't forget your overlay on vertical video.
These are my people, my people.
I love it.
The three
love
necessary
it.
things in videos are a hook, a CTA, and disclosure.
Gotta have that disclosure. Gotta
Always.
keep the lawyers happy. I think the video call out is huge. I've heard some of the best and brightest in kind of this, not to say it's the same, but the B2B SaaS marketing world is really going through a similar existential struggle being thrown at them around how do we kind of create this typical growth loop from like the HubSpot playbook. And I think a lot of the content and publishers are kind of going through a similar one. A lot of folks like Kieran Flanagan, like I keep mentioning, I give him a lot of props for how cutting edge he is on this stuff. He really touted YouTube. Obviously, we do a lot of paid marketing on various platforms. Like Christen said, videos just being rewarded. It's what users are wanting. I think something interesting about YouTube and some of these other things are that you kind of are doing something that it may be in some cases a little bit harder. And I think sometimes if you can build up something that's harder, stay at it longer, kind of create a little bit of credibility around it to kind of address that EEAT piece, it's harder for others to kind of catch up to that. And I think that's something that's interesting to think about. I think YouTube's one that's obviously it's Google, but it's different from an SEO perspective, as Adam knows, and it's different in its own way. It's not going to get it's not as at risk. And then obviously, as Christen said, like the email piece is such a powerful one with the Substacks and the beehives of the world that are growing and gaining credibility. I think there's a lot that can be done there to kind of, grow that community. And every channel, rises and falls. You're seeing some businesses and look at what Glossier did with their Slack community years and years ago, and they kind of innovated and exploded back when that was sort of innovative and new. And I think you're kind of always looking for that next wave within reason that can fit. And if you can get into that, then you have a little bit more defensibility, just like if you were to build out a pod or a YouTube channel.
So we did have a question come in from LinkedIn from one of our board members, Jim Nichols, talking about kind of way back to when Adam was talking about how Google, builds products. And so they put themselves at the top because they built this product, but those products are kind of usurping affiliate traffic. Along those lines, how concerned are you that Google will become more active as a distributor of deals and coupons, replacing traditional affiliate traffic?
They already are. Why should you care? Bing is an affiliate. Yahoo is an active affiliate. Knowledge panels are affiliate links. I have videos of it on my website, and they have every right to. That is their traffic. That is the audience they built up. And I know that's not a popular opinion. And for a long time, Bing had, I believe it, please correct me when I'm wrong on this, there was a toolbar at some point, and it was firing offers, if I remember, or it might not have been correct.
I think you're right.
Bing also, I believe, had a deals section. Now, when you search deals, Google has created a shopping experience, and they have created a deals and coupons. Google has also given merchants through Merchant Center the ability to display their own coupons on their own search results and help to circumvent that. So if you're reliant on coupon sites and end of sale touch points, you may want to diversify your own strategies and make sure none of them are your top 10 affiliates. Because if Google does decide to wipe that out, now all of a sudden your program dies.
One of my kids, my older daughter, who's a grad student, she actually said to me after one of the recent Chrome updates, she said, so I was shopping and then it just like popped up in my Chrome now, a coupon for the place I was shopping. So it's like Chrome now just going to be honey too. And I was like, that is exactly the like layman's not affiliate marketer way of describing exactly what is happening. Yes, Google is becoming the affiliate, or Google is overriding, or getting rid of the need for the affiliate. So whether it is the traditional coupon sites that people would go to because they were listed first, and you no longer have to go because you ask for a coupon for a merchant and Google just gives you that coupon. You don't even have to click through anything to get the coupon, or it is something that is just popping up in your browser that's showing you the coupon. So you no longer have to install any type of toolbars in order to be able to get those coupons. Like in either case, it seems like it is something where there are going to be a lot of publishers that are impacted by that.
A lot of the affiliate managers and agencies that are probably listening are also managing other channels like PPC and SEO. And another thing Google has done is they've created an actual shopping experience using the product feeds to show here's the products available. And on the left-hand side, they actually list the brands. It looks very similar to an Amazon or an eBay. And this could also compete directly with you. And this could also eliminate the need to go find a product review or products on an affiliate site, an affiliate list, because they're taking you directly to the stores that they trust using their credibility and their eat to drive the consumer directly to the merchant. At a certain point, this could become the old pay to play shopping type of feed, like a Nextag or a BizRate. So it's interesting to watch as Google does move into the shopping experience, likely to compete with Amazon.
The incentive seems to be too high and too good for them not to consider it. And like you said, they're already, getting integrated. So I definitely think it's a very valid question and big concern for a lot of properties and communities and sites.
So we do have a lot of agencies that have weighed in that they're watching here today, and all of you in one way or another being an agency of some type that works with brands, that works with publishers. So what do you say to all of these agencies and maybe the brands that are watching today? How do you help these publishers that are struggling? Either you see their traffic going down, you see their commissions going down, or they're reaching out to you and saying like, I'm struggling here. Like, what can you do? Just kind of the empathy on my end as a publisher. What I often get is a message that says, "Hey, Tricia, we notice you're not sending as much traffic anymore. What can you do about that?" And it's kind of like I want to cry when I get that, because I'm like, I wish I was sending more traffic too. Like,
I mean, I think approaching with empathy is really like that's the number one key here. As agency, as brand side, whatever, we have more insight into what's going on. We have more knowledge than maybe just the everyday affiliate, the everyday content creator. So always leaning in with empathy is a super important part. It's not necessarily the affiliate's fault that their traffic is down. They likely have no damn clue what's going on and are scrambling. So as the experts, as the people who are managing these programs and are fostering these relationships with affiliates, it's our job to be able to help them, support them, and triage them through this. Just saying like, you're not sending us traffic, we're going to kick you out of the program. You know what? You just burned a bridge. You just wrecked a relationship. And that is the antithesis of what this entire industry is about. What you can do is lean in and say, hey, I noticed your traffic dropped. I think it's because of these reasons. Here is what I think we should do to be able to, maybe help you regain some footing. I love, again, like the purchase path, being able to say like, this is the kind of content that you have on your site right now. Here are some of the things I think we can build out and strengthen. What do you have as far as your other properties? How can I help support you in building this? What kinds of, just providing support and providing guidance, really approaching it from a like, hey, I'm knowledgeable about this and I want to help you, versus you need to get better and just do it or else you're goner. That's not a great situation. This is scary for a lot of publishers. And I think that that's something that we really, really, really need to recognize. Like, this isn't just like oh shit, our brand is down because they are getting less traffic. This is oh my goodness, my 16-year blog is down 80% in traffic. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it on for the thing that I've spent 20 years building. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep doing this. That's terrifying for somebody. That is literally terrifying. And if you're approaching them very coldly about, your relationship, your partnership, that's not going to help anybody at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So lean into the empathy, lean into building that relationship and building the brand affinity. You know, the more you care, the more you act like you care, the better that relationship's going to be. You're going to help the affiliate feel more empowered so that they're able to make those positive changes going forward.
One of the things I love about the industry is that it is relationship and human based, and you've got this long-term aspect of the channel and the relationships. And if you invest in those and you kind of triage and troubleshoot with them, you're going to benefit from that. You're going to see those gains. You're going to have that supporting relationship when it goes both ways. Maybe when you're not doing as well, 10 years from now, it's like you got to kind of maintain that humility and empathy. And I love the fact that it is multi-channel, this industry. You've got all these different levers that a community can, a publisher or a site can pull. There's new channels, there's emerging channels, there's the variety of social networks we talked about, email. It's not easy. Is there some smart, strategic ways to kind of rebuild maybe some of the paid investments they're doing as well as the organic? Obviously, they have to be very high ROI and very no-brainer to justify that. But I think that Christen nailed it. Like, how do you kind of come from a place of like, how do we help each other for the greater good?
He's a human. Ew.
Those
I don't like
exist.
No, it's people. Ew.
I see a new human on our chat.
Hi, Brandon. Welcome to the party.
Hello.
I got to jump for another meeting. My closing tip on that one, what we're all building on, is don't give information and don't give advice if you are not an actual expert on it. Don't make assumptions. This is people's livelihood. And if you need an expert, hire one, bring one in. Your client probably has one or your company probably has one. If not, see if you can even get budget for a half-hour session and have them do a webinar like this. I know I didn't know much about SMS and I still don't, but I know people that do, so I hire them. Even I hire competing agencies that are better at it. And then they teach my partners about SMS. It's worth it because they're getting actual information that's not going to damage them. And I'm very happy to say when I actually don't know something, and that builds trust too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we only got Brandon in here for a couple of minutes, but we'll just say still hello to Brandon. Thank you for at
Hi.
least. Hopefully you can go in and drop some of your best tips into the LinkedIn comments, because I know that you have tons of SEO tips. So, but since we are at the end, I do want to give everybody a chance real quick to say where you can be found. So, website, email, LinkedIn, like where the best places are for all of you, for people to go and find you and start bugging you about how they can grow their businesses. Christen.
Hey, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I haven't built a website for my agency yet because I haven't had time. So you can find me on LinkedIn under Christen Evans or under Spark Partnerships. And yeah, you can drop me an email. Hello@Spark Partnerships reaches me, and super happy to work with publishers, super happy to work with brands. Spark Partnerships really specializes in brands that are emerging into the affiliate space and primed to launch and grow, but like don't know what they're doing. Those are my very, very favorite types to work with. But yeah, I am happy to answer questions. I love networking. And also I would be completely remiss as a board member if I didn't say this, but if you need an extra resource, please check out the Performance Marketing Association. We love members. There's lots of great benefits to being a member, but more than anything, it gives you really good access to so many smart people. Hi, everybody here who can help you through these struggles and who can help really kind of educate you. So take advantage of the resources that you have, which is the PMA.
Yeah. Adam.
You can find me by standing outside with pizza and making cat noises. Or really good wine.
No lies detected.
What if we're not on the East Coast?
People have actually bribed me out of conferences with pizza. So the best was actually at a PubCon. Someone showed up with a white van and they put pictures of cats and pizza on the side of the panel van. I went running right in.
It's like divining rods are going on.
It was actually someone I had a meeting with. They picked it up they had a what's it called, one of those service companies, but they were having it repainted, so they had an actual white panel van. They just covered it out with that. But AdamRiemer.me is the easiest way to reach me. I do read every email and every contact form that comes through. As long as it's something where I can tell you genuinely reached out, I will respond. I do read every single one of them.
Hi.
That's awesome. LinkedIn's easy with Ty DeGrange, Round Barn Labs, our site, roundbarnlabs.com. Our newsletter, we're publishing a lot of the insights and learnings, the RBL Flywheel, it's on Beehive. And then the podcast, Always Be Testing, which Tricia has been on. And I'm sure we'll have some more fun guests. I'll have to come up with another calling card like Adam, having maybe it's Texas barbecue. I love that you have the pizza and cat thing. It's just your jam and people know.
I will come to Texas for the barbecue again.
Oh yeah, I miss
So
Texas
good.
barbecue so much.
And Brandon,
We're
where
gonna
can
have
they
to have a
find
fight
you?
about which is the best.
You can find me in the LinkedIn comments.
Yes. Yes.
So I will be in
Good
the
answer.
LinkedIn comments.
Good
And
answer.
yeah, also just, you could go to Boosted Affiliate. That's my affiliate directory, and add your affiliate programs. Or just reach out to me if you have SEO questions. And yeah, like I said, I'll be in the comments helping you guys out. So thanks a lot.
Terrific. Thank you all so much for all of your participation and all of you who are watching today. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tricia. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Tricia. Thanks, Kristen, and everyone.